All right, how does a company that, used to just be famous for gaming graphics cards suddenly become the most valuable company on the entire planet? We are going to pull back the curtain on NVIDIA's $5 trillion empire, and trust me, the real secret is probably not what you're thinking. Let's dive in. Okay, let's start with this number. Just look at it. $5.03 trillion. That's what NVIDIA was worth on October 29th, 2025. I mean, that's a figure that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. It just dwarfs the economies of entire countries. Insane.
So, yeah, that leads to the big question we're tackling in this explainer. How on earth did they pull this off? How did a chipmaker achieve something so massive, leaving legendary tech giants completely in their rearview mirror?
All right, Section 1, a $5 trillion question. Let's really dig into how this value just exploded. The signs were there, sure, but the speed of it all, absolutely breathtaking. So the big catalyst? Well, it was the AI boom, plain and simple. When ChatGPT hit the scene in late 2022, it basically kicked off a global arms race. All of a sudden, what felt like every company on Earth needed a massive amount of computing power to build their own AI. And guess who made the chips they needed? Yup. That sent NVIDIA's stock through the roof, a mind-boggling 12-fold increase. But here's what's really crazy. Look at the timeline. The acceleration is just off the charts. It took them all the way until May 2023 to hit their first trillion. Okay, amazing. But then, they hit $2 trillion just 9 months later, then $3 trillion in only 4 more months, and they just kept going, hitting $4 and $5 trillion the very next year. I mean, that kind of velocity, it's just completely unprecedented in business history. And this chart really puts it all into perspective, right? For years, the big story was always Apple versus Microsoft. Who's going to be number one? Then NVIDIA comes along and doesn't just, join the club. It blasts right past both of them. It literally created a whole new league of its own.
So, okay, the obvious explanation for all this, the one you hear everywhere, is pretty simple. It's all about the hardware, right? NVIDIA basically became the essential supplier for the single biggest tech revolution of our time.
And this quote just nails it perfectly. NVIDIA provides the picks and shovels for the modern AI gold rush. Think about it. During a gold rush, the surest bet isn't to be the one digging for gold. It's to be the one selling the picks and shovels to all the prospectors. In today's AI gold rush, NVIDIA's GPUs are those picks and shovels. Everyone, from the tiniest startup to the biggest tech giant, is desperate to get their hands on them.
And their control over this market is, well, it's just staggering. NVIDIA has something like 80% of the AI chip market. 80%. Look, this isn't just a lead. It's a borderline monopoly on the very engine that's powering all of modern AI. And you can see that dominance hitting their bottom line hard. In just 1 quarter, their data center division, that's the part that sells all these AI chips, pulled in over $41 billion. That's a 56% jump from the year before. The numbers are they're astronomical.
So, case closed, right? It seems pretty simple. They make the best chips, they sell a ton of them, they become the most valuable company in the world. End of story. But what if I told you that wasn't the real secret? What if the hardware, as amazing as it is only half the story? This is where we get to their real killer competitive advantage. The true source of NVIDIA's power isn't just the silicon, it's the software. And it all comes down to a platform called CUDA. So what exactly is CUDA? Well, think of an NVIDIA GPU as this incredibly powerful race car engine. By itself, it's amazing, but it can't do anything. CUDA is the key that starts the engine. It's a software layer that lets developers unlock all of that massive parallel processing power, not just for making games look pretty, but for the super complex math that AI needs. Without CUDA, the GPU is just an expensive paperweight. With it, it's a supercomputer.
Now, here's the brilliant part. This was not an accident. This was a long-term bet that NVIDIA made. They spent over 15 years patiently building out the CUDA ecosystem. All the major AI frameworks you've heard of, PyTorch, TensorFlow, they're all built and optimized to run on CUDA. And this creates this incredibly powerful flywheel effect. Developers learn CUDA to build AI, so they have to buy NVIDIA chips. It has created this incredibly deep, sticky software moat around their business that is almost impossible for competitors to get across.
And the scale of this moat is just immense. Right now, there are over 4.5 million developers building on the CUDA platform. To give you some perspective, that number was just 1.8 million back in 2020.
That's a literal army of developers all living and working inside NVIDIA's world.
And the ultimate proof is in the most powerful computers on the planet. A whopping 75% of the world's top 500 supercomputers are powered by NVIDIA chips, and they're all running on the CUDA architecture. It's become the undisputed gold standard for high-performance computing. But you know how it goes in tech. No king rules forever. And with this much money at stake, NVIDIA's dominance is now facing some of its biggest challenges ever. And yeah, the competition is finally starting to land some real punches. Their old rival, AMD, is making some serious ground with its MI300X series. And even Intel is back in the game, becoming a real player with its Gaudi 3 accelerator. They are all in a mad dash to build their own alternatives to CUDA and start chipping away at NVIDIA's fortress. And one of the toughest battlegrounds is shaping up to be China. Because of U.S. export restrictions and the rise of local powerhouses like Huawei, NVIDIA's rock-solid position there is being seriously challenged. In fact, their market share is projected to take a pretty big hit, dropping from well over 80% down to just over half. So all of this brings us back to the big picture. We've seen this incredible meteoric rise, and we've uncovered the secret sauce behind it. But what happens next? Can this kind of dominance really last? So the key takeaway here, really, is the power of the NVIDIA playbook. It is a masterclass in business strategy. Step 1, build the absolute best-in-class hardware. Step 2, wrap that hardware in a proprietary software ecosystem, CUDA, that developers simply can't resist. Step 3, nurture that developer community until it's massive. And what do you get? A deep, defensible moat that makes your hardware the default choice. The result? A $5 trillion valuation. And that really leaves us with one final big question. NVIDIA built one of the most powerful moats in the history of business. But with competitors getting smarter and geopolitical pressures mounting, you have to wonder, in a world that is defined by constant, relentless innovation, can any moat, no matter how deep or how wide, truly be unbreakable?